Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is currently 3:05 a.m. It was very rainy. Earlier it was thunderstorming. What is today? Wednesday evening going into Thursday morning. It is currently 63 degrees outside. My gas tank is very, very low. I need to stop and get gas. But I'm gonna see if I can drive for just a little while before I stop. And I went to bed at about, what time did I go to bed? It was like really early tonight. Well, I watched half of an episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Canada while I was eating. And Tanya had texted me and asked me if I wanted to go to Meijer with her. And I said, let me finish eating and then I'll call you. And by the time that I called her, she was at Meijer. And that was at like 9:30. And so I went upstairs and hung out and talked to Alex for a little bit. And then he turned the lights off and we went to bed. So that was probably at like 10 o'clock, honestly. And so I just slept like 5 hours. Like a full night's sleep almost. That's why, like, when I go to bed early and then I get up in the middle of the night, I like, if I vlog, it kind of messes me up because it's kind of like, here's the thing, I prefer to vlog in the middle of the night. Like, this is just, I have more fun doing it, and I feel like the conversations are different. The one-sided conversations, I feel like, are different. But then what happens is, I'm wide awake when I get done vlogging. So like, let's say if I finish this around 4-ish, then I'm wide awake and I want to listen to my audiobook. So I stay up till 5 or 5:30, which means I ultimately get to bed at like 6 in the morning. And then I get up at like noon. But it doesn't really feel to me like I've had like 5 plus 6 hours of sleep. It feels like I've had just 6 hours of sleep, if that makes sense. So then I get up and I'm tired. So I don't know. What's the answer to still wanting to vlog in the middle of the night and having a somewhat kind of normal sleep schedule? I get, you know, the other thing I guess I could do is I could just stay up when I get home and not go back to bed, and then when Alex leaves in the morning, I could just, you know, like at 7 in the morning, start making my videos. And then at like 2 in the afternoon, take a nap until like 6. I know this is going to sound so strange because you guys are going to be like, well, but you vlog, or that you nap late at night. So you nap late at night. So what's the difference? But to me, to sleep from like 2 to 6 just seems like such a waste of a day. There's no right answer to it. Okay, I have my Diet Coke here tonight. And to tell you, I wasn't going to bring a Diet Coke. I was actually going to bring water. I'm really craving a Diet Coke though right now. But I was watching a vlog tonight from Joelle, who now I know how to pronounce her channel name. I guess it's Joe Whaletail. It's like a whale, but a tail. Joe Whaletail. She said she thinks it's funny when I mispronounce her name, because her name looks like Joellatal or something like that. I guess it's Joe Whaletail. I don't know. Anyway, Joelle's channel. So Joelle is the one that is doing the Peter Monn vlog challenge that Michael invented. And Michael and I were actually supposed to get together tonight to meet up, and we were gonna film a video. And I just felt like crap all day long because of my allergies. So I texted him and asked him if we could do it tomorrow. So we're gonna do it tomorrow instead. So stay tuned because that video is coming. Although I don't know if I'm gonna put it over here. I think I'm gonna put it on my Peter Monn channel. I think I'm actually probably gonna do 2 videos. Like, I think I'll put this one video together, that I have an idea for on my Peter Monn channel, and then I think I'll just start vlogging with him in the car before I drop him off. And because I know that a lot of you watch Michael, because a lot of people comment over here. When I mentioned him the other day on my drama channel, a lot of people commented and were like, oh my God, I love Michael at Pofology, I said, at Pofology. But anyway, Joelle has this channel linked underneath her videos. So I was watching her video that she did, because she said it was something like, she titled it something like, am I going to collab with Peter Monn or something like that? And I was like, well, this is interesting. Are you? So look, I have my pee-pee cup that oh, little pee-pee of the world. This is one of my favorite things that anybody has ever sent to me. I love it so much. So Joelle is the one that lives in San Diego that's vegan, that I read her comments one night about like junk food and being vegan and stuff like that, which was cracking me up because she was sitting there eating Fritos while she filmed the video. And but anyway, she was like, she had said something about, I had said that if I came out there we would do like a tour of vegan restaurants. Hell yes, I would love that. I think that would be so much fun. And I actually think that my brother and his girlfriend would really like her. She seems like just so laid back and whatever. But, so yes, Joelle, we're gonna do that if I come out there. I tried to find her social media to send her a message, but she doesn't have, I don't know, maybe she doesn't have any social media. I couldn't find any of her social media linked. So if you do, email me or something or let me know. But I think that would be so fun to go to, like, you know, a couple different, I've never actually, when I was in Denver, like 12 years ago, I went to an all-vegetarian restaurant. I mean, I'm sure I've been to an all-vegetarian, where have we been? I feel like I went one place. But, like, in Indianapolis, every once in a while, somebody mentioned it on a vlog the other day, there's like a restaurant in Broad Ripple that's an all-vegan restaurant. If there's all-vegan restaurants in Indianapolis, there might be 4 or 5, max. I mean, there can't be any more than that, and I don't even think there's probably that many. A lot of the restaurants that are nicer now, and especially the ones that are downtown, like on Mass Avenue, they have a lot of, like, vegan options. But there just aren't, like, a lot of, like, I don't know of any. Well, there was this Three Sisters Cafe. I don't know if it still exists. And I think it was all vegan stuff, maybe. Actually, Cafe Patashu and all of the restaurants that she owns have quite a few vegan options on their menus. So that's always nice. It's nice to be able to go to a restaurant. I mean, I'm not vegan, I'm vegetarian, but it's nice to go to a restaurant where it's not just like 1 or 2 options, you know, and it's like always something like stir-fried vegetables or a quinoa bowl, but it's actually, you have like 5 or 6 options, and 2 or 3 of them are vegan versions of something that anybody else would eat too, like a omelet or a waffle. You know, it's nice to have that because you know, just because we're vegetarian or vegan doesn't mean that we don't want the same kind of other options. I think the assumption is usually that vegetarians and vegans just want to eat like a bowl of fruit, and which, I mean, I think we know from watching my channel that's not the case with me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like fruit, but you know, it's like, especially when you go out to dinner with like a group of people, I'll tell you what's hardest is steakhouses. And obviously, I mean, they're not gonna have, you know, whatever, but like, I was really impressed with this last steakhouse that we had, or that we went to. It's Prime 47 in Carmel, that we went to for Melissa's birthday, because they actually had like, I mean, it was only one, but it was this pasta primavera dish that they had on their entree menu. I was really impressed with that, because usually steakhouses have no options for vegetarians. And if you look at them and you say like, will the chef make something? They look at you like you're crazy, right? So, and you know, a lot of people, I mean, most people that I know that are vegetarian or vegan don't have all vegetarian and vegan friends. You know what I mean? I said something to Alex the other day about doing it for 30 days, and he was like, no, I'm good. I was like, okay. I said, you wouldn't even want to do it for 30 days. He was like, no, not really. I was like, okay. I mean, I think it's a personal choice. I don't think it should be, you know, anything else. And But when I go to steakhouses, it's always like a salad and then a side, which is fine, you know. A salad and a baked potato is just as good for me as like having a main course meal. But it's again, like the option of having something else. That pasta that I got from that, it was a lot of pasta. It was actually more expensive than one of the meat options, and it was really good. I mean, I was really impressed that they had that on there. It's just strange to me today in 2021 with all of the vegetarians and vegans out there that, and pescatarians and stuff like that, that there actually aren't more options when you go to some restaurants, you know, like, I think for this alone, that like whenever we typically plan to go somewhere, like my friends, like for Melissa's birthday or whatever, like Melissa was like, do you care if we go to, you know, a steakhouse? And she knows I don't care. I was like, girl, I don't care. Go, you pick where you want to go and I'll be fine. I'll figure something out. I mean, I really do not care. Like, I mean, this is just me having a conversation about it that I, you know, think it's interesting, but like I never like make a fuss out of it. I always just pick something and go with it. You know what I mean? But I know I've had some vegetarian and vegan friends that they would be like, I don't want to go to a steakhouse. Like, can we please go somewhere where there's actually a few options for me? And, you know, for that reason alone, and there's like a lot of vegetarians and vegans out there, like a lot. You would think as a restaurant, you would at least want to have some options on there so that you would make it, you would have a restaurant that people would want to come to that were vegetarian or vegan, you know? I mean, I'm not talking about an all-vegetarian restaurant. I'm talking about having some options on there. It just seems strange to me in today's time that, you know, in 2021 that you wouldn't do that. But it's just, I mean, I think it's the same thing as having like gluten-free options and, you know, other kind of like food allergy issues on there. And that's the other thing is when I go to a restaurant and they have like, you know, on the menu, they'll have like a V next to something or like GF or gluten-free. Like I love when menus do that because it just makes it so much easier for me. I can just go down and just like see all the vegetarian options. I think that's really nice when restaurants do that. It's always surprising to me what restaurants do it too. Like sometimes it's like small, like little mom and pop shops and they'll have it on there. And I think that's so cool that they do that, you know? Whereas like some like major chain restaurants, they don't have that on there at all. But anyway, so Joelle and I are gonna do a collab when I come out to San Diego, but I don't know when we're coming out there next. Maybe in the early fall or something like that. I'd love to go back to San Diego. So we'll have to see. I don't know. But tomorrow night I'm doing my collab with Michael, and I'm excited about it. So I felt bad having to put it off. Well, having to put it off tonight, but I just like, everybody I know that has allergies is like being eaten alive by allergies. Like I just felt so out of it all day today. Like my throat hurt, my eyes were running, my eyes were itchy. Until I took my allergy medicine, I was having like a really hard time breathing this morning. And then it was like, I took my allergy medicine and it went away. And the other thing is that my allergy medicine compared to what everybody else takes is like super weak. You know, it's like, I take that aloe vera because it's not habit forming and it's non-drowsy. And at least I have something that I can take, but it's not like, you know, the other, like the more heavy duty medicine that you take it and then like 20 minutes later you're like, you know what I mean? Like it's not like that at all. But anyway, so yeah, after I vlogged today, just knock something down. I filmed a bunch of videos, did a review video. Oh, I already said that because I came back on here about that. I wonder if they found out about that body. I'm actually getting ready to come up to where it was. filmed videos, got the videos up. Then Alex came home and fed the dogs, took the dogs out. I took the cushions off the couches outside because it's still raining, but they're soaking wet now. So to put them in like the cupboard thing, they're not going to dry off in there. We're just going to have to wait until it gets warm, which is why we have the cupboard thing in the first place. I said to Alex the other day, I said, I think it's going to rain. And he was like, it's not supposed to rain. And so I looked at the weather for that night and it wasn't supposed to rain. So I was like, let's just leave them out. And it didn't rain. And then sure enough today, it was pouring all day long. And so they're soaked now. They'll dry off. It'll just take a while. Look at that. Richie Woods is open again. I wonder why they have that electric gate on there if they never have it, closed. That's so weird. So anyway, filmed videos. And then what did I do after that? Alex was watching the Kardashians. We were talking about that a little bit. Kim Kardashian's she's trying to get her law degree. I was watching this whole thing about that. And, you know, I'm like not a huge Kardashian fan. I mean, to be honest with you, I can take them or I can leave them. I just feel like they don't really do anything. Like, I don't really understand it, I guess, you know? Like, I mean, I know that, like, people love to watch them and stuff, but really, to be honest, they're famous for just being, you know? I mean, they're famous for, like, their dad was Rob Kardashian, the attorney for, you know, that was friends with OJ and all that stuff. But they're really just, like, famous for, like, this reality show. And, but I don't dislike them. I mean, they seem like a neat family, and they're very close. And I love that they do so much stuff together. And I think it was Chloe that was showing about how she was building a house right next to her mom. But, you know, Alex and I were talking about, like, misconceptions that people have of you. Because, so Kim she has to take, it's called, like, the baby bar, I guess. I don't really understand what she's doing. I've never heard of law school the way that she's doing it before. But apparently she's doing law school in the way that she's doing it takes 4 years instead of 3. And you basically apprentice under people, I guess. And then they teach you individually what you need to learn instead of, like, going to an actual law school. And then, but you take, like, this baby bar exam at, like, a year or something. And she, like, failed it by, like, 80 points or something. Well, like, let's just be for real. A lot of people fail the bar exam when they take it for the first time. I've had a few friends of mine that are attorneys that didn't pass the bar exam when they first took it. You know? And not because they're not smart or that they didn't study, but because it was, you know, test anxiety. They didn't do well, you know? It's one of the most difficult tests in the entire world. So, and it's devastating for them. It's absolutely devastating for them. I had a friend of mine who is one of the smartest people I've ever met in my entire life. I mean, like, academically smart. One of the smartest people ever. Straight A's in high school, straight A's in college, straight A's in medical school. And the first time they took their state boards for med school, didn't pass. I mean, it was like, I mean, I was really worried about my friend. I was like life or death worried about my friend. I mean, it was devastating to him, you know? And, I mean, obviously, he eventually passed his boards, but I just was, like, I was really, really worried about him. So I'm sitting there and I was watching this, and, you know, I don't really honestly feel very often, I don't feel sad. That place where that retention pond is literally, you guys, right back there. Like, right back there. I don't typically feel bad for the Kardashians. I think they have this blessed life. But, you know, it's like with Kim Kardashian, I think it would be kind of hard. It's like everybody just kind of thinks that she's just like, you know, and she's trying to do some really good work right now with working with pardons and what is the word? Is it clemency? Clemencies and pardons. whether you agree with what she's doing or not, like, she's trying to do something that's not just a reality show, like, you know what I mean? And, so that's why she's doing this. And Alex and I were talking about how hard it would be to be in the public eye and to fail your bar exam. And then for all these people just to think that you're this, basically like this dumb, pretty girl anyway, and trying to be taken seriously at the same time. Like, that would be hard, you know? I think you would constantly doubt yourself. I used to tell you, it's like the weirdest thing. Like, I was watching Joelle's vlog, and she said in there something like, I've watched Peter's videos for years, and she's like, what'd she say? Like, I'm not a stalker fan, or not like, you crazy stalker fan. She's like, I'm not like a stalker fan or anything. She was like, but I guess she kind of like jokingly, she's like, I mean, I'm just like a normal person. She was like I'm not like a big YouTuber or anything. And you know what's so weird about that is, whenever anybody says that, like, about my videos, it almost feels like somebody, like they're not talking about me. It's really weird. Like, I mean, first of all, it's a nice compliment, so thank you, Joelle. And the fact that anybody has watched, I mean, when people come to my vlog and they say, like, I've watched every single one of your vlogs, and literally my vlogs are me driving around in a car. First of all, there's a piece of it to me that's very raw and vulnerable that people, like, know every moment of my life, because I've literally shared everything over here, you know what I mean? And, but that is what is so cool about this for me. I was kind of, so anyway, but it's weird because, like, I think there are some people that see me in a way that I have never and will never see myself, you know? I mean, I said something to somebody the other day, and they were like, I can't remember who. Oh, it was somebody on Facebook, like a friend of mine that was sober, said something to me about, they had seen on my Instagram that I had put, like, my new studio, and it was like our front porch, and messaged me and was like, your studio for what? I got like a couple people that said that to me, because they don't know that I do YouTube videos or whatever, you know, they have no clue. And I was like, oh, I make YouTube videos. This one guy, and he's probably 10 years younger than me, and he was like, you do? He's like, what do you make YouTube videos about? And I was like, well, I have like 6 channels. We were like going back and forth, and he had texted me, and I honestly, like, he had moved like probably 3 or 4 years ago, and like, I hadn't, like, that's probably why he has no clue, you know, like, that this is what I do, you know, on a daily basis kind of thing. Anyway, so he was like, I'm sure they're fans. He was like, I'm sure they're fabulous or something like that. And I was like, oh, thanks. You know, if you check them out, let me know what you think and whatever. And so he went to what, like, the next day, he texted me, and he was like, oh my God, he was like, you have quite a following. And I was like, and I never think of it that way. Like, I really don't. It's so weird to me, because if I ever think about, like, I always think about it in terms of my vlog channel and, like, the people that comment on my vlog channel and whatever. And I, like, get such a delight in watching, like, Joelle sit there and, like, talk about watching my videos. And, like, I don't know, it's just, like, so cool to me. It's like, there's this girl on the other side of the country, right, that I have never met and I have never talked to, but she watches these videos about me, and now I watch these videos about her, and it's just kind of like this, almost kind of like pen pal situation, you know? But it's so weird to me when people, like, talk about me, like, as if, like, I'm a YouTuber, because, like, I don't feel like that. I really don't. Like, I really just feel like I'm in a car driving around, or I'm in my living room making videos with my dogs or whatever, you know? Like, I just, I've never seen it that way. And, I don't know, it's kind of strange, you know? I think also, like, the times that people do come up and talk to me, they're typically very, very shy, and they'll be like kind of afraid to come up and say hi to me. And I'm always just like, well, come over here, let's, you know, say hi, let's talk or whatever. And so when Joelle was like, I'm just a normal person, I'm like, girl, I'm just a normal person too. You know what I mean? YouTubers, none of them, I don't care how famous you are as a YouTuber. I really don't, okay? I'm not talking about celebrities that are now have YouTube channels. I'm talking about regular, ordinary people that got lucky on YouTube and have a couple million subscribers or even 10 or 15 million subscribers, right? Like, they are just normal people. I think sometimes, like, they do have a huge following, right? But they're really, at the end of the day, just normal people. So, one of the things that's really attractive to me about a lot of YouTubers, I'm trying to think of somebody that I watch that's like on a big level. I actually don't watch many like huge YouTubers. I'm trying to think of somebody that I watch that it's like, you can tell that they haven't really been affected by any of it. I actually think as a beauty influencer, like Bretman Rock is like somebody, Bretman Rock is somebody that just seems to have a lot of fun with it. He just seems to have a lot of fun in general, you know, like hanging out with his family and all that kind of stuff. And he does what he does, but on the side, I mean, he's having like a lot of fun with it. You know what I mean? Like, as far as beauty influencers go, like, Nikki Tutorials is kind of like that too. She seems to me like she shows up for the job, but then the rest of it is like, I'm just gonna enjoy my life kind of thing. You know? It doesn't seem like, I don't feel like they've lost themselves along the way sometimes. I don't know. Whenever you're talking about entitled YouTubers, you know, I talk about them quite a bit on my drama channel. You know, entitlement comes along with that you feel like you should be treated special because of who you are. Well, if you're a YouTuber and you're coming across as entitled, right, like the James Charles and those people, you know, the Rylan Adams, like I was talking about, then the reality is that you think there's something awfully special about you. And I'm not talking about it in a way that I think all of us should feel like we're special and unique. I think that we should all feel that way about ourselves, that we're special and unique, right? I'm talking about I'm more special than you, therefore I deserve better treatment than you do, or I deserve different treatment than you. Like, to me, like, that is like, wake up, you know? It reminds me very, very much of, especially when we are talking about YouTube, like a streaming service that you got lucky on, typically because of who you know, like, that's really, I mean, let's just be honest with, unless you're a YouTube channel, like, I'm trying to think, like, that Ask a Mortician, I really like her channel. She's a good example of somebody that I feel like hasn't really changed from the beginning. What's her name? I can't think of her name now, it starts with a C. But anyway, you know, like, she's a channel that, like, just grew on her own, right? She didn't, like, I mean, I'm sure she's gotten quite a few shout-outs from people, but, like, I just, you know, another one, like, Bailey Sarian's another one that I really, like, appreciate what she's very individualistic in what they do, you know, and kind of were the first at doing what they did. I mean, there's other people like that now, but I appreciate, you know, the fact that they do what they do, and, you know, I mean, a lot of the true crime people that, like, first came out, like, it's interesting because, like, I watched that Cecil Hotel and that John Lorden Arts, who I had followed for quite a while because he actually did the Fox Hollow Farms video. That's how I found him, like, a couple years ago. He was very small for a long time. Really nice guy. I'd reached out to him before, I think. Yeah, I'd reached out to him before. But, like, Stephanie Harlow, Kendall Ray, those people, like, they really had to kind of, like, work themselves up to where they're at now. Like, that was before, like, true crime was taken seriously and stuff like that, you know? And I was talking to somebody the other day, because people know that I love true crime, and somebody had said to me on my drama channel, you should do one true crime video a month. Well, here's the thing, okay? First of all, is that for, like, those people that are doing true crime, I don't know if you guys know this, but, like, every video they do is sponsored because it stopped. It doesn't matter because I said something wrong anyway. I said those videos are unmonitored, and what I meant to say was those videos are demonetized. Why is my face looking blue in this light? It was weird, wasn't it? But anyway, am I out of focus? I can't tell. The majority of the true crime videos are demonetized, so they get a lot of sponsorships, right? And they're sitting there putting tons of effort into it. If you watch these videos, like, I didn't understand for a long time why they sat there with notepads or, you know, read off screens and whatever. It just, to me, I don't know, it seemed lazy. But when you start really following true crime and whatever, like, a good example would be like the Chris Watts case. There is no way that you can discuss the Chris and Shanann Watts case without having a notepad of 20 pages or less of notes. There's just no way. There's so many details to the case, right? So many names to remember. There's actually this girl in our true crime book club, her name's Caroline, and like every time she guests, she always has all of the names of the players written down because she's like, I always forget like who the people are, so I write them down as like a reference point when I'm reading the books, like, oh, this is who this is, oh, this is who this is, right? Because it's easy to forget who people are when, like, a lot of these books and the cases, they have, like, tons of people, you know, especially once you get involved into the law enforcement part of it, and then it's like captain this, investigator that, detective this, you know, whatever, officer this. It is, I think that has to be one of the most difficult. This is why I don't have, like, the beauty influencer videos, they're great and whatever, and they come up with these amazingly creative looks sometimes. I think some of them don't really work that hard on it. But it's like, your job is to review makeup and open a palette and whatever, you know, it's just like, and then they complain about it sometimes. And then there's others that are makeup influencers that they have so much fun with it, and I think, like, that's what I love to watch about certain people. Like, y'all know I love Elle Leary from Elle Leary Artistry. She just has so much fun in what she talks about, and that is what I so respect about her, you know. And there's a couple other people out there that do that as well, that are just, you can tell they are constantly having fun with what they are doing as far as like the makeup and the skincare and the stuff like that. But true crime, you're talking about, that is so much work and effort that goes into putting those videos together. I can't even imagine the amount of hours you would have to sit there to take notes. And then on top of it, have to make it interesting and put in pictures and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's a lot. It's a different thing, too. Like, you know, there was this thread, it was interesting. There was this thread on the Beauty Guru Reddit about, do people believe that true crime belongs in beauty videos? And like a Bailey Sarian, for example. And you guys, this thing was upvoted so many times, meaning that these people did not believe that it belonged in beauty videos. I was really surprised, because whenever I talk about true crime, and maybe it's just because of the point of view that I'm coming from, that so many people are like, oh, I love this, and I love that, and I love Bailey Sarian, and I love when people do that, and, you know, Murder Mondays, or whatever she calls it, Makeup Murder Mondays, or whatever her deal is on her day. She's so pretty. But this thread was really interesting, and it was a lot of people who had family members that were murdered, and they were saying that they feel like, you know, that it's callous and whatever. And, you know, that's a whole discussion within the realm of true crime, that, well, about people making money off of that and the whole industry and all that kind of stuff, which is interesting. You know, it goes back to me, I remember back in the day, like my grandma having those magazines, those true crime magazines and stuff, that apparently my grandfather was on the cover of. True Detective, I think is what the one he was on. Because my grandfather was a homicide detective in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and he solved one of the first murders there in Allen County. But my grandma, my mom's mom, not my dad's mom, my mom's mom, the one that went to prison, she used to read those magazines, and I can remember just like, you know, tearing through them about, it was like called like true crime or something, I can't remember, and they would have the most gruesome pictures in it and stuff. Do you guys remember those? I mean, this is from like in the 70s, and And then there would be those books that when you went to the grocery store, they were always in like the bottom row of the paperbacks at the grocery store. And they weren't taken seriously at all. And they were just for a long time, true crime was just factual retellings of what had happened in these cases. And it was really like any case in the world they would write about, you know? You would read these books. Actually, one of the cases that I'm always very interested in cases that take place where I live. And one of the cases that I was very interested in at a time that my ex's, his old roommate, she got me reading this book called Cruel Sacrifice by Aphrodite Jones. And it takes place in Madison, Indiana. And it is about, why is that car like holding weight? He is still at the stop sign back there. That is really weird. He hasn't started going yet. He like got real close to me and sped up behind me. He's still there at that stop sign. Oh, he did a complete turnaround. That's freaky. Because he was following me for a while and then he sped up. And he just completely turned around at that stop sign. That is so weird. But anyway, so the Aphrodite Jones, I think, used to be an FBI agent, and we passed this book back and forth. And I read this book called Cruel Sacrifice, and it was about Shanda Shear, who was a 12-year-old girl that was killed by 3 other girls. And I became very interested in this case. Actually, the girls they've been released from prison now. They went to prison the year that I was a senior in high school, which was weird too, because it very much reminded me of like me and my friends in high school just like driving around. There were like pieces of the book where it was about that. There's been like a made-for-TV movie about it, I think. Or maybe it was not a made-for-TV movie. Maybe it was a Dr. Phil show that recreated scenes. I can't remember. But the mom and sister of Shanda Shear have since like got on Dr. Phil and confronted like the girl that murdered their daughter. The fact that the murderer is out of prison living this life is just crazy to me. But those were the kind of books you read back in the day. Then true crime became very, you know, the original true crime book, or the original nonfiction that really invented it was Truman Capote with In Cold Blood, which was just very factual. There was really no emotion to it. There was just the story. It was just a telling of the story of what happened. And Truman Capote invented that. Like, if you go and you look at In Cold Blood, the history of that book, which is why we read it for our book club, and it was one of the worst books I've ever read. I'm sorry. If you like In Cold Blood, more power to you. There was nothing interesting to me about the book whatsoever. It was kind of what inspired later, like, Vincent Bugliosi's Helter Skelter about Manson, which I still have not finished yet. About this whole, like, just very cold telling of facts that then comes across as kind of this very, like, scary retelling of it. And then true crime became shock value true crime, I would say, like, in the 90s and the 2000s. Now, what's happened as a result recently, and it's really all mostly owed to Michelle McNamara, who wrote I'll Be Gone in the Dark, One Woman's Obsessive Search for the Golden State Killer. She passed on. She was married to Peyton Oswald. There's a 6-part series on HBO Max. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. It's fantastic. What has happened as kind of a result of that is that we are seeing and it wasn't just her book. There's been other books around that time that were very similar to that. American Predator about Israel Keys is very similar to that. The books that were also written about the Golden State Killer, the one by, what's his name, Holes? Is it Scott Holes? I can't think of his name now. But anyway, the detective that Michelle McNamara worked with, Evil Has a Name, that's the Audible original. All of them are very victim-focused. So you get to hear the story of the victims. You get to hear the stories of who those people were. That's why Elon Green's book, Last Call, was so important. The book had very little to do, maybe 10%, about the killer, and it talked about the lives of the victims. It talked about what got them there. This is the new turn that true crime is taking. And one of the things that we talk about in a true crime book club is the importance. I mean, we will wreck a book if it doesn't pay homage to the victims. And we really talk about, how does it pay homage to the victims? Does it like do a good job of like covering them? Does it do a good job of talking about their family and who they were as people? Do you walk away from the book really understanding who this person was, or are they just victim number 5? And that's the problem, you know, with a lot of these old books, was that they, to some degree, they glorified the killer, you know? And especially when it was like a serial killer that had a name that they were named. Now, if you go back and you read some of these books, like Golden State Killer talks about this, one of the reasons why media, and it was media typically that would name these people, was there were easier ways to catch them that way then, and because then all databases would go in for just that person if you had a name. So that's why people were named things like the Night Stalker. Part of the problem with like the Golden State Killer was the Golden State Killer had like 4 or 5 different names because they didn't know that it was the same person. They had like, well, later it became the Golden State Killer. Michelle McNamara, I think, actually called him that. But before that, it was like the Visalia Ransacker, the East Area Rapist. I can't remember, but anyway, they called him all these different names, you know, and at the original Night Stalker, they thought he was maybe the original Night Stalker, and at the same time, you know, they weren't sure if the Zodiac Killer had stopped killing yet and not, so it was all this back and forth. But today, it's very important that these writers pay homage to the victims of these crimes and what's happened, you know? Very, very important. So it's, you know, like On Evil Has a Name, when I listened to that book on Audible, I literally was just in tears at the end, because it goes through listening to probably 5 victims that survived, and then like 10 family members of victims that passed, that were killed. Oh, no. Which one was that? That was not... Well, they did that kind of on Evil Has a Name, too, at the end. But the one that was so good was it called I Am God? And it was about the DC shooter. Which, that book was another book that was very, very victim-focused. And it was incredibly written. So, you know, that's one of the things that we really talk about today. The Son of Sam Law is interesting, and I don't know if they hold it up still a lot, but says that you cannot write a book or sell your movie rights and make money off your crimes if there were victims. Which is why most of these people have never told their story or anything, you know? It's interesting because, like, Damien Eccles from the West Memphis 3, he actually wrote a lot of books while he was incarcerated. But I think the way that he got away with that is that his books didn't have anything to do with the crimes. I mean, he referred to them in the first book that he wrote, but after, because I listened to that one on Audible, but after that, he didn't talk about the crimes. It was about his life otherwise, and other things that were going, his belief in magic and his spiritual beliefs and things like that. That was an interesting book, Life After Death, I think it was called. It's interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I do have an interest in true crime. I enjoyed, you know, talking about it and listening to it and whatever. You know, people in there were talking about how that's why they could never get kind of behind My Favorite Murder and as a podcast. And when you listen to My Favorite Murder at first, it is kind of offsetting because, like, at first I did not like it. And because they're laughing through the whole thing, you know. But when you listen to it, they're never laughing at the victims. They're always laughing at kind of the ridiculousness of the killer. I don't listen to it as much as I used to. I haven't listened to My Favorite Murder in, I don't know, months, probably. I went through like a period where I listened to like 3 a night. And I haven't listened to it in months. I haven't really listened to any podcasts in a long time. Well, I don't consider them when they're on YouTube podcasts. I don't know why. I just have a hard time, like, because people are like, then turn this into a podcast. Then, okay, this is a podcast. Then I'm not going to call it a vlog anymore. I'm just going to call it a podcast, but I do it in my car. You know what I mean? It's like, but I do listen to the Front of Me's podcast, or I watch it. I typically do just have it on in the background, but I like to watch it too, to see their interactions and whatever. I don't know. I enjoy reading about true crime. What's the book that I really struggled with because of how it was written? Like Columbine, I thought did such a great job paying homage to the victims. By David Cullen, that was such a great book. There was some book recently that we read, and I just was like, this was just all... I just wasn't impressed with it at all. Well, the part of the problem is that a lot of the books that we read are so much older that, I mean, we pick them because of the topics. We don't pick them because of the age they came out. I mean, if it was up to Mel and I, we would pick brand new books every single time. But we had picked up, like, sometimes we pick books that are written in the 80s or 90s. Well, at that time, the trend was not victim-focused. The trend was to glorify the killers because that's what was interesting to people, you know? And so, it's an interesting conversation, I think. I know there's a lot of people within the booktube community that just don't read true crime, and they won't read true crime and whatever. But they're the documentaries that interest me the most. I think it's also, you know, like the ones that I watch on Netflix and stuff, it's always interesting to me. I can't believe that My Gaslight has not come on. Now watch, I'll say that and it'll come on. They're also the ones that interest me the most, you know, on Netflix when I am watching them. I love to watch the true crime documentaries and things. I don't really have any that I haven't seen right now. Somebody told me to my friend Valerie the other day, she called me, or she texted me, and she said, you need to watch this documentary. And it was the one about something Zachary. I watched it years ago. It was really good. I think it takes place in Canada. Because I texted her, I said, does it take place in Canada? And she said, yeah. And I said, yeah, I saw that. It was really good. But, I mean, I need, like, a making of the murderer or something like that. I need like a 10-part documentary to get really into. For a while, they were just putting them out, weren't they? Like The Keepers and Making of a Murderer, both seasons of that, 1 and 2. Here's the red truck over here. He's not in it though. And see, that medical care place is already open. Well, you know what? I'm gonna go over to the Speedway right here and get gas. Since I just said that and look, my gas light came on. That's so funny. I swear I thought this sign over here said gas is $3.52. If I pull up here and the gas is $3.52, I'm gonna lose it. $2.92. That's expensive still. Bunch of motorcycle people up in here tonight. All right, with your motorcycles. And the sheriff's here. All right, I'm gonna fill my gas tank and I will be back in just, oh, the battery's dying too. This is perfect. And I will, I mean, it's not, but I will be back in just a second. Bye. Okay, I'm back. This gas station is pumping for, push it real good. Bum, 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 bum. Is like, really, look at this, really busy for, what time is it? 3:59. All these people pulling in. Okay, put my stuff away, put my receipts away. Changed the battery, full tank of gas, we're ready to go. Road trip ready. God, I wish I was going on a road trip right now. I mean, I could if I wanted. I could just say, peace out! I'm going on a road trip tonight. There goes the sheriff. Bye, sheriff. Dun, 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 dun. I used to listen to Salt and Pepper a lot when I was getting ready to go out. Oh, look at that hospital right there. I'm in Noblesville, Indiana. They put up the names. Look, it's a boy. And then they put the names of the people that were born today. That's kind of cool, isn't it? I think that's nice. Anyway, what was I talking about? I don't even remember what I was talking about. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you know how much I love you. That's what matters, okay? I can't remember who I was talking to today. I think it was Tanya, and we got in this conversation about just like how cool it is. Like, oh, it was Tanya, because I was telling her about, she was like, well, what did you do today? And I was like, I vlogged. Did she call me while I was, oh, she called me like after I had done my review video. And then, so anyway, she was taking her grandkids to go see Cruella. She was kind of a little nervous, but she was very excited to go to the movie theater because the movie theater just apparently opened or whatever. And she thought if she went during the day, it would be completely dead, which she said it was. Like, there was like nobody there. She also said Cruella was fantastic. It was really, really good. But anyway, we were talking after that, and she was like, so she was like, what did you do today? And I said, well, I did my vlog, and then I did this review, and whatever, blah, blah. And she's like, well, what did you talk about in your vlog? I said, I don't even remember what I talked about in my vlog. I said, but I had fun. She's like, you could just talk for hours in your vlog, couldn't you? I said, Tanya, I just feel so blessed that anybody wants to listen to what I have to say. She was like, you always say that, you know, you have life beyond your wildest dreams. She's like, you just really do love that. I was like, I do. I mean, and she knows it, and Alex is, like, she and Alex are so supportive of me, like, doing videos and whatever, and like, Alex, it's so funny, because he's been telling people lately that, like, when he goes upstairs, like, if I have, like, a video or two left to film, he'll just go upstairs and wait until I'm done. And he's like, Peter's voice, he goes, for some reason now, like, filming videos, like, even the intro in his drama video, is soothing to me. It, like, puts me to sleep. He's like, it really relaxes me, which I think is so funny. But, you know, he is so supportive of it. Like, he'll say to me, you know, like on Sundays or something, he'll be like, well, don't you want to film videos today? And I'll be like, well, I'll hang out with you. And he'll be like, well, babe, if you want to film a couple videos, you can film a couple videos, and I can watch a show, and then we can hang out together, because he's like, I know how much you love it. And, you know, when, like, people message him and tell him things, like, and they'll be like, can you please let Peter know this and whatever. You know, he always, like, screenshots it and sends it to me. I mean, he just is, I just feel so blessed to have, you know, a husband that is so supportive with all of my creative endeavors. And I think that's, like, one thing that, like, Alex and I, no matter what it is, it's like, you know, like, one of the things I know he loves is, like, you know, when we're out together, or like at a music festival, or we're, you know, just like at a bar, which has been forever, but like if we go, you know, somewhere, like when we're out of town or whatever, we're together, you know, he will be like, can you record me dancing? Because he loves to have videos of himself dancing, because he doesn't dance like he used to. You know, he used to dance in, you know, teams and stuff like that, and he doesn't. And it's like at music festivals and stuff, he'll be like, can you record me dancing? I'm like, yeah, sure, babe. You know, and I think that, like, one of the secrets to a good partnership is being excited for your partner's passions. You don't have to be excited about those things. I could care less about half the music festivals he talks about. You know, he gets so excited about every music festival they announce. Oh my God, you know, I'm like, okay. Actually, there's a music festival in Austin, Texas, and I told him, I said I would go to this one because Stevie Nicks is playing there, and Billie Eilish, and there's a couple other people. But I don't think it's the kind of music festival he really would want to go to. There's like, oh, and Rufus Du Sol is playing. So he was like, well, I would go because of Rufus Du Sol. I go, you would go to a 3-day festival just to see Rufus Du Sol play on one night? He's like, yeah. But I just want to go to see Stevie, Billie Eilish, and I would love to see Rufus Du Sol. But that's like late fall or something, I think. So anyway, somebody sent it to me. I think it's actually somebody that watches the vlog that tagged me in it, and I saw it on Twitter, or tweeted it to me or something, tweeted it to me. Again, we live in a world where tweeting is an action. Isn't that so strange? Anyway, I love going to music festivals with my husband. I don't love music festivals the way that my husband loves music festivals. My husband would go to a music festival every single weekend if he possibly could, you know? My husband would go to music festivals every day, 24 hours a day for his entire life. He loves it. He feels alive at music festivals, you know? And that makes me happy for him. But I don't have to love that, but I can get excited for him. And you know, that's, just like he's always like, you know, like we have our book club this weekend for our book that I haven't started yet, okay? I was figuring it out tonight. I was like, I have to read an hour, I have to listen to an hour and 40 minutes the next 2 days to finish our book. In time for the book club on Sunday, and trust, I will have the book done in time on Sunday. But I haven't finished Dumpling yet. And, you know, he's always like, whenever I have the book club on Sunday, he always gets so excited. He's like, because I'll like drop him off and then I'll call Mel before the book club. And he's always like, tell Mel that I said hi. And I'm like, okay, hi, you know, whatever. So, yeah. Hell in the Heartland, was that the Jackson Miller? Was that her title for a book? Her book was really, really, really victim focused too. She's a phenomenal author. I love her so much. So it tends to be like more that way. I feel like with the books in the last 5 years or so that have been more about the victims and the stories and their lives, you know. I haven't really heard anything more since they arrested a suspect in the Delphi case. I haven't heard anything more about that. Have you guys? With people that I know that follow true crime in Indiana about stuff that happens here, and I don't know tons of people, but like people that I've met, that I've talked to at the Baumeister case, and but he's supposedly a closed case. But do you know this about Fox Hollow Farms? There is there's a possibility that he had an accomplice. Like they really believe that Herb Baumeister had an accomplice, at least on like half of his murders. He was also the I-70 killer. And so there's people that I've met through talking about like that case that know that I'm interested in that case and whatever. And there's kind of like this unwritten rule. I mean, these are not people online or anything. These are just people that are interested in true crime. There's kind of this unwritten rule with people that are like in these Facebook groups and not aficionados, but you know, like they're like online sleuths. What do we call those? Online internet sleuths or whatever, that you don't talk about the Delphi case. That case is supposedly very interesting in that, which is so sad because it's about these 2 girls, but there is like so much about that case that is supposed to be wrapped up, and it is so much deeper than people think that it is. And there's kind of this like unwritten rule, like stay away from that. If you live in Indiana, don't talk about it, don't investigate it, you know, whatever. Which is, I think, part of the reason why I've never like, I mean, I've watched the videos on it, like I talked about it that one night, you know, in here and whatever, but like, I don't know. I think that whole thing is so sad. I can't believe they haven't. It's been all this time and they still haven't solved that case. I mean, I cannot believe it. Apparently, Stranger Things is not coming out until 2022, which makes me sad. You know, Indiana is kind of a weird place as far as like summers and stuff like that. Like, I just watched that movie, Summer of '84, and it really reminded me a lot of like growing up here in the summers. Like, I don't know if this is just everywhere. You know, maybe it's just because Indiana's my own experience, and you know, I used to watch To Kill a Mockingbird when I was growing up, and you know, Scout and Jim and Dill were like intrigued by the mystery of Boo Radley, and you know, and I love that scene when they're like, you know, going through the vegetable garden and Jim gets his overalls caught on the fence, and when he comes back, he takes them off, and when he comes back, they were folded over the fence, and you know, Dill goes, see you next summer, and all of that. I mean, that was very much my growing up, you know, kick the can, and lightning bugs, and telling ghost stories in the yard, and we always had, you know, these scary stories we told. There was this woman that lived in downtown Carmel, and she would sweep the streets, and she dressed in all black, and they called her some name and whatever. And it's like, there was always these mysteries, you know, when I grew up, when I was a kid. I mean, we had this one house in our street that, like, we never saw anybody come out of or leave or go into. Like, I mean, to be honest with you, like, I really never did see them come and go. And we always, like, had, you know, stories about them, and we would always, like, walk past their house late at night and be really scared, and then all of a sudden the light would, you know, turn on, and we would all, like, run by real quick and stuff like that. But there is something kind of very eerie about Indiana, and it seems like in the summer, you know, there's always like one summer we had the cat burglar in Indiana, which ended up going into the winter because they ended up catching him that winter. And my mom was, like, part of that case because one day she went out to go, we had this, like, long leash that we would put the dog in when I was growing up, and my mom would go out there and put the dog on. And when she opened the back door that was, like, outside of the garage, so you like walked from our mudroom into the garage, and then the garage had, like, a back side door. There was, like, the garage door and then a side door that you opened. When she opened it, there was a jewelry box and snow right there. And the dog just took off into the woods. And, oh my God, this car up here, you guys, the one that turned around for me, just turned around. Well, I don't know if it's the same car, but it's another car. It literally just turned around right in the middle of the street over there. Is that like a police officer or something? That's why it's doing that? No, it's almost like they're looking for something. It just literally, you guys, it was going this way, and then it turned around and it went back that way. But anyway, there's always something spooky happening in Indiana. So, but that whole summer, like, people's houses were being broken into. And it was like while they were asleep in their bedrooms. I mean, this happened to houses on my street. With houses that had alarm systems. Like, they would be asleep in their bedroom, and they would wake up the next morning, and, like, their entire bedroom had been, like, robbed, like jewelry boxes and all kinds of things. And people were, like, climbing. They didn't know how they were getting into their rooms and the side of the houses. They were coming in through the windows. That's why they called them the cat burglar. And that was, like, one whole summer. There just was always, like, weird stuff that happened. And I think when you're a kid, it's even, like, a bigger deal, you know? Like murders and stuff like that. And we had all of that when we were growing up. And it was scary, you know? And I can remember going to bed at night and, like, I can remember going to bed and, like, I don't know why, but, like, you know, Voices, like the song by, you know, who's the song that, who sings that? It's not Berlin, is it? The song Voices Carry. But, you know, like, on our street, like, we lived on a very quiet, secluded street that we were all backed by woods in the cul-de-sac. So, like, Voices did carry. And, like, you would be, like, in bed. And I can remember, like, I would be reading in bed or something, you know? And I should read some of my favorite books from when I was a kid. Like, what was that one? I was going to read this a couple years ago. The one about the babysitting group, Kids something. But anyway, and The Witch's Sister. That was what I was going to read last year that I never finished. I should read that this year. But anyway, I should start that this summer. And I should start reading it right now because it takes place at the beginning of the summer. But anyway, I can remember, like, laying in bed. This happened a couple times, you know, and you'd hear, like, a scream or a shout in the street coming up from somebody's house or something like that, you know? Very scary things that happened when I was growing up as a kid, but also made it very mysterious. You know, we were always, like, telling stories about, did you hear what happened to Mrs. So-and-so, or did you know what happened to this, or, you know, whatever. It was also the era of, like, you would see, like, husbands and wives, like, fight, like, right in the driveway, you know, and just, like, crazy stuff happen. And, you know, police cars showing up. There were these people that, this is maybe where, this is like a story that happened, like, and I know it happened because it happened on the street where I know somebody lived not far from us. And one of the kids was, like, I don't know, but, like, they stabbed the mom. I don't even know what happened with all of that. But there was just, like, that was part of like summer in Indiana, you know, was like ghost stories and telling all that and getting scared and whatever. And what's so weird is I can remember like my mom was like 5 foot and not like, I mean, she was a scared woman too. And we didn't have an alarm system on our house, but we had these like double bolted locks and all this kind of stuff. And I don't remember feeling scared like in that house. Like our basement was super scary, but we had a double bolted locked door. And I think back on this now too. Like that house, I should have been terrified every single night. We had a full basement that was not finished, that was cement. I used to play down there in the winter and roller skate because it was like the full length of our house. But we had crawl spaces down there. We had rooms that like didn't even have light in it. We had like this one room at the very end that like, anyway, we had windows that went out to the backyard that was 5 feet from the woods. There were 3 doors back there, 3 like big double bolted doors that went outside. 3 of them or 2 of them? 2 of them. But then we had windows that were like ground level window. Like you could stand there and like right here, like look right into the window, into the basement. And you could have literally walked right in from the woods and 5 feet from the woods, look right into the basement, right? And I mean, somebody could have like broken a window and we wouldn't, in the middle of the night, and we would have never heard it. And they could have come right up the stairs and gotten us. And I mean, very easily. And, at the top of the stairs, you walked up these stairs that were not finished. They were just like they had like light carpet on it, like that really thin carpet, you know? And, at the top of the stairs, that door was double bolted. And I can remember sometimes like looking underneath the door to see if the light was on in the basement because I was so freaked out about it like late at night if I had to go down there because the laundry room was down there. And the basement was scary. But other than the basement, like our front door was literally wood, this thick wood, and double bolted. Nobody could have got through it. But you know what's so funny is, I mean, I never remember being very scared. I mean, the house was a scary house, yes. I mean, there were times that I was scared when we would tell ghost stories and all that kind of stuff, but like on a regular basis, I don't remember like being in bed and being like terrified to go to sleep. Like, I don't remember that. I remember being scared because my mom was drunk and I didn't think, you know, like, well, I didn't know if she was okay or not. I remember certain situations happening that I was scared about. But like, the house was a scary house, but I don't think I realized at the time how scary it was. It was funny because Caroline was saying the other day how much, I'm gonna open my other Diet Coke. Caroline was saying how much she liked that house when we were growing up. I liked the house too, it's a fantastic house. But I was scared at times. But I don't think, I mean, if I lived in that house today and we didn't have an alarm system and I had those windows in the basement, I would be terrified constantly, I think, you know? I honestly don't know how my mom was in that house, like on the weekends that I was with my dad and stuff, and she wasn't. And she was terrified. She later said one of the biggest reasons why she drank so much was because she was so scared of that house alone. But I don't even know how she stayed in that house by herself on weekends. Like, I don't know that I could have. I mean, the house was pretty large, and I mean, and drafty, and wood floors and slate floors. I mean, when I look back now, I think, oh, that house was really scary. But I don't know. I guess I was more scared than I thought I was. But no, I'm saying, like, I just don't remember, like, on a regular, like, my mom yelling outside, okay, time to go to bed in the summers, you know, and I would come in and take a bath and put my pajamas on and get into bed, and my mom would be watching a TV show in the other room, and I'd be in bed reading a book. I don't remember being terrified. Like, I can't go to sleep because somebody's gonna come in here and kill us. Like, I don't remember murder us. I don't remember that. You know what I mean? Like, I remember just going to bed and being okay with it and having my windows open to the woods and hearing all kinds of crazy noises in the woods and stuff. Like, that kind of stuff scared me sometimes, you know? But I don't know. That restaurant's called Quesos. I wonder if they have good cheese. I miss that house sometimes, though. It was a beautiful house to grow up in. What was Caroline saying about it the other day? said something about the house when we were there for the barbecue the other day. Caroline said something about that house. She was like, that house you grew up in. I'd love to see it today. If it ever goes for sale again, I want to go in there and see it. It's crazy to think that I haven't seen that house for 26 years. My mom lived into that house. So my mom lived in the house until I got sober. My mom moved out Christmas that I was in treatment 26 years ago when I got sober. And then she moved out then, and then the house closed because she bought that's when she bought the condo. The house didn't sell right away, and it closed that summer. And that was when we went over there and we put the penny in the fireplace. And my mom was like, I remember she went through her purse, or her coin purse, and she was like, well, let's take a penny and let's put it up in the fireplace, great, where nobody will find it, and we'll know it's there, and then a piece of us will always be there. I can't remember what year it was, like 84, 86 or something. And she was like, well, that was a good year. And I was like, was it? She was like, yeah. She took the penny and we went into the library and we put it up there, and we had drank a cup of coffee sitting on the front porch. I look back at that and I think, that would have been a moment that I remember my mom being really sad, but my mom was really strong for me in that moment. I remember, like, we walked out and the house was empty. And she brought these coffee mugs over, the sailboat coffee mugs. And a thing of, like, instant coffee. Because she said, do you want to see the house one last time? And I said, yeah. And we had this hot water tap at the house that you just, like, turned on. It was, like, next to the sink. You know how some people have the sprayer thing? We had this hot water tap, so you could just put instant coffee in a cup and then just turn it on. You didn't have to microwave coffee or water or anything. And the whole house was empty. So she made this coffee, and I remember we sat on the front porch. Well, we didn't have a front porch, but, like, we had a front porch, courtyard, but we sat on the brick steps going up to the house and talked about the good memories we had in the house and all that kind of stuff. And I remember my mom was, like, not sad about it. Like, she did not want to move. Like, she was so resistant to moving. And then when she got in the condo, she was so happy about being in a smaller place. She felt very, like she said, that she felt safe. She felt in the neighborhood, that it made her happier. There was tons of light that was coming in the windows instead of all this, darkness and stuff, because the house was very, like, dark. It was like, lots of curtains and stuff like that. And it, like, moving to the condo really changed her a lot. I think it just made her feel safer to be in a small place, I mean, she went from something ridiculous to, like, I don't know how many square feet her house was, but to, like, 1,200 square feet. And that's with a full basement that we have now, And she liked it. She felt safe. I think she felt homey and cozy, And I just remember her being, like, really okay that day. Like, in a moment when I thought she would have been, like, just a mess, basket case crying mess, but she wasn't. And I remember I just started, like, losing it, like, when we walked out, and I mean, it was my childhood home, It's weird sometimes when you think about, like, saying goodbye to places, if you're somebody that does, like me, and even if it's just in your head, that you realize this might be the last time I ever see this place, or the last time I ever see this person. Even if it's just, like, some of my dearest friends that I've ever had in my life, we never had a falling out. We never had harsh words with each other. People moved. Their lives changed. I have friends of mine that have been some of the dearest people in my entire life that I, honest to God, cannot remember the last time that I spoke to them. I don't know how it stopped, but I haven't talked to them in 10 or 15 years. I don't know what that last time was like. If I got the call tomorrow that they were gone, I would be devastated, And maybe I need to pick up the phone and call some of those people. I probably do, It's really that easy, but we don't take the time for that in our everyday lives, I don't think, When you leave places sometimes, I knew that day that was the last time I was ever going to see that house. And I'm glad that I had the opportunity to say goodbye and see it one last time. But it's crazy too when you have these places and people that mean things to you, and you're at the end of that experience of your life, because you'll never be there again. You'll never see there again. You'll never sleep there again. You'll never wake up there again, I think it's often like for people that go off to college, it's like you go off to college and what you don't realize is that when you come back, it's never going to be the same again, It's going to be a different experience from forever going forward. But you don't really think that the last night that you're sleeping there, I don't remember the last night that I slept at my mom's house. I don't remember the last time that I slept at my dad's house. I just remember one day I was gone and it was never the same again, It's crazy. Goodbyes are tough, but sometimes you don't even feel them until years later, And then they kind of catch up on, kind of just all of a sudden they've caught up with you, And you're like, God, I didn't even realize I felt that way. I didn't even realize it meant that much to me, Or that they meant that much to me. And then it's too late to say goodbye, sometimes. I guess it's never really too late to say goodbye. It's like a personal thing, Anyway, let's not get all sadly tonight. I want to finish a little bit of my audiobook, and then I want to go home and have a cheese sandwich before I go to bed. So I'm going to get off here now. See, this is why I'm like wide awake. It's 4:27. I'm wide awake. But anyway, I'm going to get off here now and listen to some of Pumpkin by Julie Murphy, which is really, really fantastic. I highly recommend it. It's a great book if you want to read a book for Pride Month, too, because it's about a gay teenager and his sister who's a lesbian. It's fantastic and very real and hilarious and sad and endearing at the same time. So, anyway, I was going to say... And also, if there are certain things that you would like me to talk about, put them in the comment section below. And I can go through the comment sections and just kind of pick out certain topics to talk about, which I think would be fun and whatever. I know Michael has some questions for me, because I told him, I said, come up with some questions. I'll let you ask some questions while we're driving around or whatever that, come up with some kind of different questions or whatever. So that'll be fun. I have no idea what he's come up with, but I texted him and I was like, do you have questions at all? And he was like, I have questions prepared for the video, but I don't have any questions about the video. He's really a sweet guy, you guys. I'm so excited to meet him and his wife, Emily. So, anyway, that will be tomorrow, and I may vlog with him for a little bit, too. So, all right, I'm gonna get off here now, and if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And be kind to one another. Be compassionate to one another. Like it says in the 4 agreements, always lead with love. Let's put a little kindness, love, tolerance, compassion. Oh my God, it stopped right when I was telling everybody how to live their life. One more, I love you. No, it's not time for that yet. Anyway, let's always lead with love, like it says in the 4 agreement, most importantly, but let's put a little kindness, compassion, kindness, love, kindness, compassion, tolerance, understanding. I already said all this. Hope, faith, courage. I don't know. Just love one another now. Come on, people now. Smile at your brother, everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. Anyway, love one another, you guys. Be kind. And, yeah. Just have a happy day. Have a good day. And I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing day. and I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya!